The one thing I don't like about Scryfall is it doesn't show you like what card when you're editing, like when you're editing your deck or adding cards, it doesn't like show you what the card is
Oh no.
unless you specify the printing while you're editing. So it's like, oh, if you kind of forget,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't. It's like,
Be like, is this the rat I actually want? Nope. No, it's not.
yeah, no, it's like super tedious.
Yeah. I saw your tweet about Vegas and how you're kind of like, now I want to go because everybody's going, and I
Yeah,
know
I
that
don't know if
feeling.
I will.
I know that. I know that feeling. It's tough. I was like 50-50 on Reno, but when like a buddy of mine was just like, I know you're going through some financial shit right now because I work for a contractor, and then they weren't being able to pay me on time, and so I was like, I was totally able to afford it. It's just that my payments weren't coming in on time, and it was affecting other things. He's just like, here's a little bit of money. Go to Reno. I was like, you motherfucker, you're going to make me cry. Well, not
Cry
in front of
anyway.
anybody, which is great, because crying in front of people is really weird. No, I'm kidding. It's fine.
It is weird. Do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
Just do it anyway.
And so then I went to Reno, and Reno was super fun. I helped Shivam do cuts for his Corval deck that he wanted to build.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he started with like 200 cards. Yeah, no, he had a lot of cards he wanted to play in Corval. What
That's
is the problem with
that's
Corval though?
yeah.
Corval's just a really good card, and you want to play all your really good cards that work with him in your really fun deck, kind of thing.
Right, yeah,
And then
yeah.
I was just like, shoot him, how do you feel about Infinite Combo? He goes, do I have one in that pile? I was just like, you kind of do. He goes, go for it. I was like, oh, okay, I guess. Sure, if you just want to pull up everybody's non-creature permanents with Wolfball Primus while you have a Grumgully in play, that works too. You know, do whatever
It's
you want.
fine.
Yeah.
I see nothing wrong with it.
I told him he could totally do it with Renata too if he wanted to play Renata. He's like, oh, I love new cards. I was like, new cards are great, except they're printing too many cards. So
Yeah,
you
you can
gotta.
say that again.
They're
It's like I
printing.
can't catch up.
No. And then like someone shows me a card. I was like, oh, when was this printed? War of the Spark. What?
Or the,
They're like, yeah, this random legendary zombie lich thing, and I was just like, where did it come from? War of the Spark. I was like, how many cards were in War of the Spark? Like
a
700.
lot. Yeah, like this rat deck I have right now only has there's 35 cards in it counting the commander.
Volume is low. I can fix that.
My volume?
No, no. Someone in chat was saying my volume was low. I can fix that. Also, I can move the camera closer to my mouth.
Oh, can they see me already?
Yes. In your cool gaming chair.
Yes, it's very nice.
Do you have the lumbar support set up and everything too?
Do I have my what?
Lumbar support and all that, so you're not hurting your back when you sit down in it.
I don't know what that is.
It's the lower pillow.
Oh. Yes, there's a lower pillow
Yeah,
attached.
yeah. I was about to say, it's for your lower back because
Yeah.
my fancy chair is a kitchen table chair because
Gas.
Yeah.
Gas.
Value. Hello, everybody. I have to fix my headphones because they are wiggling everywhere. This is the problem.
Should I wear headphones?
That's up to you.
I don't wanna.
That's fine. I mean, you're going to be wearing them after this anyway, probably. Do you wear headphones when you stream?
Mm-mm.
I didn't. I just realized that. I was just like,
No. It's hard to see. It's hard to tell when I'm streaming because like I have a green screen and the back of my hair is or my hair is black.
yeah.
The back of my hair is black. So it's not like you can see much that's going on because usually my hair's down.
I was talking with Emma on her stream recently, and I was just like, I totally enjoy watching one-on-one Magic. I don't like playing one-on-one Magic.
You like watching one-on-one Magic, but you don't like playing one-on-one Magic?
Yeah. It's very much the moment where I realized I was just like, I am totally a commander player. Like the closest one-on-one Magic I probably could play would be Canadian Highlander, which is a format that's not played where I live at least. So don't really play it then. I love the idea of drafting. I don't like playing the games.
Mm.
And I don't know. I tried playing best of one in Magic. Turns out either I get extremely salty. By the way, Arena is the only place I get salty in Magic, which is very weird.
That's true. It's the same for me. The same.
Like,
Get so salty in arena.
yeah, and like I play a game of Commander, and I'm just like, can't be mad.
Yeah.
I kept a hand with 2 lands, but then like someone counters a spell in arena. I'm like, of course he had it. I'm like,
hmm
where's the difference? And I think it's just
There's
because
none. It's
there's
just mentally.
I can't see the person next across from me. So if I were to say that and there was a person across from me, of course they're gonna have some reaction. And I think me being a judge kind of helped me realize this too, that people's feelings matter.
hmm
So saying things like, of course they had it, or that kind of top deck. Of course, saying it when there's no one in front of your face is super easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I learned a lot about myself recently when I playing arena, and I haven't played arena since really. And they actually sent me a survey. It's like, you haven't played arena since like
Oh
the
wow.
release of Eldraine. Would you like to fill
Yeah.
out the survey as to why? And I was just like, I don't want to pay money for Brawl. I don't want to play money for Brawl. I also don't
That's
want to play one
a
v
big
one
one.
Brawl. I want to play multiplayer Brawl because that was also what the format was designed for. So
Yep. I get salty with arena too. More it's probably because of the way like the mental effect of the ranking, how
yeah.
the ranking looks.
Oh
It
God.
makes every loss feels
So much
because
more.
just the way it is, every
Yeah.
loss feels so much worse than a win than how good a win feels. Like you
And
have to have a
especially
streak.
Yeah, and especially when you hit Mythic, every win gets you this much more, and every loss just feels like this.
Yeah.
And
hmm
I can't imagine people trying to like stay in top like whatever percent of Mythic. It's like that's got to be defeating because like you log out and then the next day you log in and all of a sudden you're down ranks again because you hadn't played, and it's just like that can't
Yeah.
be healthy.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it is. I mean, I guess I think it's really the best way to do it, I think, is you have 1 month. You need to make 2 mythic in like the top 1200. You need to make it 1 month. Like so you have to dedicate your 1 month to doing that and staying there and grinding. And that month is gonna suck. But it makes the next months easier now with the way they have it to where it's like, oh well, you've already queued for the MCQ, so you can do other things, or like your ranking also when it resets, you're like I think you start at platinum,
Oh wow.
which is such a big leg up,
Yeah.
so it's much quicker. The people who've made it to Mythic before will make it to Mythic again, assuming they play. Um, and they'll do it quicker and it'll be like an easier time every time. But yeah, staying in that top, but the grind itself is like real brutal. Um, it's difficult. I mean, there's really no easy way to do it because you have like with draft that if you make Mythic, you're top 1200 guaranteed. There's no question because not enough people play Mythic or play for Mythic in
In
draft.
draft.
It's too expensive.
Yeah.
But if you do it, you're locked. You're gas. Um, yeah. So but like again, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Like 750 gems. You have to go six. You have to go 6x
To
to
like get
get
your
your
money back
gems
in
back.
half.
It's brutal.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Jamie Topples, she's one of the few people I know that's like Mythic and limited, and like that's all she does though is she just drafts. She doesn't
Yeah,
try to
and
play like
you'll see she also plays like traditional drafts too.
yeah.
Her Voxy is constantly mythic in draft. Deathsea, obviously. A lot of people use his tier list, which is pretty good. Um, like those are the three like known streamers I know who do a lot of draft and
Yeah.
limited.
And see, I
Draft for
love
mythic.
the idea of draft because it's you figuring out what's best for you, not necessarily what's best in a vacuum, which a lot of deck building basically is like, well, what's best in a vacuum? And then we take those cards and we turn it into a deck. And then sometimes
Mm,
they have synergies. I mean, like they
yeah.
often all time you're thinking about synergies as well, but like as much as I love the deck Jund.
hmm
Jund is literally just like 60 of the best cards in Magic though most of the time as a deck.
It's always bad though.
I mean, you're not wrong.
It's always bad.
Allie, I love you, but She's not wrong.
You're talking about Gen and Modern, right?
Yes.
It's always bad. You know how many times I built that deck? And this comes from a place of love.
Love, yeah.
I have built Jund 3 times, once in foil, because I'm a garbage human being. And I love that deck so much, and it's so unbelievably bad. Even when it's good, it's bad. Even when it's good, it's bad. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Like, I'm not even sure. It is the best at being bad when it's good. It's amazing.
Yeah. And then, as we were talking about, between 2019 and 2020, so many good Simic cards being printed that it's unnecessary. I love Simic. I don't think that these cards are like extremely bandwidth. Man, Oko sucks.
Oko was pretty bad.
I was never a fan of Oko.
Oko was pretty bad. I like Oko, but it's pretty egregious, yeah.
Yeah. So hey, we can actually get started because we talked about a bunch of things that. Well, I mean, like we were just kind of doing a talking thing, and I was like, oh man, I can actually segue into one of these questions, which is great too. So hi everyone.
Hello.
I am Phil, and this is Elizabeth Rice, and she's going to tell you about what she does and who she is.
Oh God, are you going to put me on the spot like that?
I gave you a script.
That's it? That's what you're going to do?
I gave you a script, and it literally says this.
Okay. Well, maybe earlier when I was looking at this script.
I usually would say what you do, but I would much rather you say that.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say. Okay.
Well, fine. I will do it.
You know what? All right. Anyway.
All right. We're going to stick to the script instead of going.
We're going to stick.
So this is Elizabeth. She is a Mythic Championship 7 competitor.
That's true.
As well as a writer for Cardsphere.
Mm-hmm.
She produces a podcast, which now, this podcast, she now also guests, or is in. I don't want to say guests, because guest would be not a recurring role. So, well, she's now in this podcast. She is an aspiring cosplayer, which she was just talking about her working on it today. She also streams. I was like, I'm missing something. She streams, and she has another thing, which is called MTG Mukbang.
Mukbang the Gathering. Yeah,
Mukbang the Gathering.
Yeah.
And that is a whole thing in itself, which is going to be really funny and cool, and I'm really excited for it.
Yeah.
Also, apparently, Cardsphere is playing for the first one. The first one you did?
Yeah, Cardsphere. I've actually already filmed the video. So, Cardsphere, which is my sponsor, they're really great. They paid for like the first meal, which is good because it was a seafood boil. And I don't know if anybody's had a seafood boil before, but seafood is expensive. Okay, lobster is expensive, shrimp is expensive. Crab is expensive. It's expensive.
Can you tell us all that you had? Was it crab, lobster, and shrimp?
So crab, lobster, shrimp. And there's different kinds of crab too.
Oh boy.
So, and then there was potatoes and corn. And there was a lot. It was like $100 worth of food. It was great.
I was like, where's the crawfish? And then I realized it's okay, Phil. They don't need to be crawfish.
No, I didn't do crawfish. Crawfish I like to eat on its own. Yes. I don't really like to eat other stuff. I mean, sometimes it's like, sure, fine, but I like crawfish on its own.
Yeah, that's fair. For those who don't know, crawfish and crayfish are the same thing. But people where I live never say the word crayfish.
No. I was like, I didn't know what a crayfish was until I was much older. And I was like,
and then I visit my girlfriend up in Pennsylvania right now, and then like crayfish, and I was like, oh, that word.
I dislike it.
It hurts.
It does.
So, yeah. What is Mukbang the Gathering?
So it's my new YouTube channel, and it's basically, if you've ever seen a mukbang, what a mukbang video is, it's social eating. I think it started in like Korea or something, and it's basically where you see one person, they have a camera really close to their food, and like they are just eating an unbelievably amount of food, and it's kind of like ASMR a little bit. In my case, it's going to be slightly different. I will be eating an unbelievable amount of food.
Godly amount
It'll
of
be
food.
less about ASMR and more of like I'll be talking about like, you know, my favorite things about magic or just nerd stuff in general. I really want to talk about Star Trek. There's tons of things that I really want to talk about. Um, so that I'll be doing while stuffing my face with pizza and seafood and all sorts of stuff. And my friend Kwame, we kind of grew up in the same LGS.
Oh, neat.
He will be on a lot of the videos with me because it's a lot easier to do when there's like another person to talk to. And
Also,
so
less food to eat, so less. I
that's
mean,
the downside.
oh no.
That's the downside. I like to, don't worry though, I prep him and I'm like, okay, you can have 1/3 of this and I get the rest. No, actually, it's actually kind of funny. I can eat a lot of food, but I eat incredibly slowly. I'm like it's like I'm geriatric with the way I eat. It's like, like how they make fun of like people, they're like, "Oh, you eat like a bird. You just peck peck peck." I used to get that a lot.
Oh no.
So, but now it's like I just eat very slowly. Probably because I'm always running my mouth, but
Well, I mean, that's
there's that.
kind of the reason, which leads me into why mukbang the
Why
gathering.
mukbang? I just thought it was really fun. Like these videos are so cool and I really enjoy them. And I just think like, there's so many things that can be said about magic and nerdy stuff in general. And like the best conversations you have are with other people, like where there's food, like that's when stuff gets real, people talking at the dinner table about stuff they shouldn't be talking about, but they always talk about it now. So it's like that. Like, or if I just like, I love that feeling when like I'm out, I'm out, like, I'm out at the restaurant with my friends and we're all just like shooting the stuff
You can
and
curse
we're
on this. I
gossiping and we're
I don't.
talking and
It's
that's
mature.
what it
You're fine.
is.
I was about to say you can curse on here. It's mature. We're fine.
Oh, okay.
I,
Great.
I
So
don't
it's
care
like,
about
yeah.
YouTube monetization. It's not all that much money anyway, so we're fine. Um,
Mm.
but yeah,
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to do like mukbang. I just thought, and then there's a lot of different like YouTube, there's a lot of magic content.
Mhm.
So this seems different.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
that's
mean,
why.
look what we're doing right now.
Listen, you got to get me one of those.
uh, uh, so another great person to talk to if you want to try to get these, Tappy.
Yeah.
Yes, this is from Tappy's friend. Her Nib Mizzet one and mine are done by the same person.
I need it.
So you were talking about a lot of people say things they shouldn't. That was very southern. I don't know if it happens anywhere else.
Yeah.
Where I live in New Orleans, people talk about a lot of things they shouldn't talk about a lot of the
That's right.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Listen, it's 2020. People talk about all sorts of stuff that they should not be talking about at the dinner table, but they do it. They just go off and do it. And I'm kind of into it. I'm into it.
and so this will be mostly about positive parts of the magic community, right? Like it's not going to be like I'm going to spill the tea. I'm hipping with the kids.
No, it's not going to be like that. I mean, I'm sure there'll be some times where I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to throw back 2 pizzas and I'm going to rant. Like I need a minute. Like there's going to be some of that. But no, it's definitely my intention is not to make a bunch of videos where I basically, where I put everything on magic on blast because despite the negative parts of this game or the community or the Wizards of the Coast, whatever you want to, talk about, despite like all these flaws, like there's a lot of cool, there's just so much good stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of
So
positive.
it just would feel like a waste to just talk crap.
Well, we don't talk about the positive enough, and that's kind of the problem. We always are so ready to be like, well, this deck's doing this thing. Let's poop on this. Or this player did this. Let's go poop on that. And it's just like,
Mhm.
This person just won a tournament, and we're sitting here, and we liked his tweet about winning a tournament. We're not sitting here, hey, go check this guy out. He won a tournament. I mean, and there is that, but we don't see it in
Yeah.
a large multitude at this point. Or Dana just made another day two at Reno, and she's now made 3 day twos at the age of 9.
Which is great. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we're always worried about someone getting caught cheating, which is a problem. I feel.
Yeah, I kind of like think that I think um, Twitter's kind of a hellscape a bit, and everybody wants to have opinions because opinions mean potential clout and followers, and that can turn into something else. So people are really incentivized. There's a lot of things about Magic that people are incentivized to do kind of unhealthy behavior.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's just like an unfortunate thing, but that's just is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to just do things that are fun. And I've played Magic for 6 years, and I've had a lot of bad, but a lot of like a lot of good. And I've been spending these 6 years trying to figure out, how do I enjoy this game best? What kind of content do I like that makes me the most happy? And let me do that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be more motivated by those things and less about the things that make me unhappy, which I think more people should do, but that's up to them.
Speaking of content, and you write for Cardsphere.
That's true. Truth fact.
What kind of articles do you write, and what is the what goes into it, and what's the process?
Mm. So Cardsphere, I started writing for them when I went to the Mythic Championship back in December. I wrote an article about what that experience was like for me, and they liked it a lot, so they like kept me going. So I do just one article a month, and they're really awesome. They let me talk about whatever I want to talk about. So I've talked about the Mythic Championship. I've talked about I like talking about Commander. So I've written 2 articles so far about Commander. Well, one of them hasn't been published yet, and that's the one with my Praetor EDH decks. And then I've talked about content creation in general. I was talking specifically about the new creator program that Wizards launched, and like my first impressions of it, and trying to address like some of the criticisms of it,
I was
that sort of thing.
debating adding that as a question, because I feel like anyone who does stream like you do enough, that that's kind of a
Mm-hmm.
thing. I was like, because I there was a bunch of mixed opinions on that, but we'll get back to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it was mixed, but and like my opinion on it is still mixed. Like there's some things that are just like there are definite flaws to the program, but the way I see it is Wizards of the Coast is a company of capitalist America, and they're out to make the most money possible, whether that is the right thing or the not right thing, whether they do it in the healthiest way for the people participating or not. That's not quite their objective, is to evaluate that. But if you look at however many as many games as there are, there are not that many that have been trying to put in so much work to, I guess, encourage people into content creation. Obviously, there's a monetary reason they're doing it, but still, there's some benefit for us. So, yeah, it's mixed, but I don't know.
Yeah, because when I saw that there was one for I think a 12-hour stream or 11-hour stream or something like that, I was just like,
Yeah.
that seems to be promoting unhealthy behavior.
I mean, there will definitely be a 12-hour stream thing on there. I think there's already a 10-hour. I'm pretty
Jesus.
sure. And the difference between 12 and 10 is
Not that
it's not
much.
that
No.
much. But the way they have it set up in their program is it does not have to be consecutive.
Oh,
So
okay.
you just stream it, you just put it together. I mean, I have done 12-hour streams. They're really not that bad. Like, but I had food prepped, so I ate, and I took breaks. They're not that bad, but they're definitely gonna toe the line. But for now, it's okay.
Yeah. The other one that was weird is they're like, hey, go into this, historic event with a deck that's like 60% creatures or something like that. I was like, you're just asking for players to go into an event and kind of just lose a lot, considering how you're probably just going to play people with actual decks, actual factual
Mhm.
decks. I was like,
Yeah, it's a tricky balance because like their streamers are, we all have different goals. So I've talked to other streamers too. So some of them, they're kind of like meh on the program because the challenges so far haven't been ones that they could do. So they kind of just ignored it.
oh,
And then I've just been doing kind of the low hanging fruit. But if my goal is to make Mythic and be competitive and get better, I'm not really going to spend time doing like the challenges that are like side quests, like that don't really
yeah.
do anything for me, because the reward's not enough to do that.
Yeah, no, and I get
But
that. And that's why I was just like, I love seeing the multiple opinions of people because obviously people have different ways that they stream Magic. I mean, you stream and you play and try to get up to Mythic. You do a draft every now and then you play
mhm.
Brawl when you can play Brawl on Wednesdays. And speaking of which, the Get Rog deck was super fun to watch, and I'm so glad.
Yeah, that deck is awesome. Brawl is really fun. I wish I could play it more, but I'm just not willing to pay however many gems it is.
Yeah, like, and that was my thing where I was just like, again, if this was a multiplayer format and you made me pay money for it, maybe, like, but the one
Hmm.
v one aspect means that aggro decks and control decks just kind of overeat everything else when people are just trying to have fun,
Hmm.
and then you don't get to do anything, and then you don't like the person who builds who builds a Grumgully deck doesn't get to do much against a deck that's just going to counter every single thing or kill every single thing that gets on on the battlefield.
Yeah, which is weird because it's not like there's like any reward for it.
No,
But
it's
I think a lot of people, I mean, people play to win. I think a lot of people play to win.
and I
And I
think
know some
it's
people play to have fun, and that's true, but like there's always going to be that weird friction
oh yeah.
between the players who want to win and the players who have fun. Like I have fun when I win.
Yeah, no,
But
fun is a subjective term that means a totally
yeah.
different thing to everyone. Well, not exactly everyone else, but a lot of people have different definitions of fun. My definition
Mhm.
of fun is watching my deck do the thing, usually
Yes.
because it has a thing. Um, Others people is watching their deck win, and
Hmm.
sometimes with that, it's just like, cool, but you didn't let my deck do the thing. Like, you can win
Hmm.
after my deck's done the thing. Like after I've milled my whole deck with the Get Rog, gained a bunch of life with those Satyr Dryad thing, and then shuffled my deck back into my library with Loaming Shaman, kill me. I don't really care all that much anymore because my deck
Yeah.
got to do this really cool thing all at once.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah. I don't know. And it's a little tough.
Oh yeah, no, there's, and again with Arena, a lot of people are very much competitive in Arena, and they want to
Hmm.
win and they want to do all that stuff because a lot of times, like if it's a draft, I understand that a player wants to win because that means that they're that much closer to just being able to get their gems back and doing it
Hmm.
again, which is, as we talked about, in draft you really do need to get everyone matters.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure if Arena, I don't really see Arena as a place for like casual like
Mm-mm.
play. I don't really think it's for that. I think yeah, I don't really think it's for
Playing with
that.
your now that there's a friends list, that's where the casual is. You go to your friends list and you challenge someone when they're online and having
Sure.
fun.
Yeah.
That's where the casual is, and and I love it more when I'll be able to have 8 friends and be able to do a draft, and be like, it's just 8 friends
Hmm.
doing a draft. It doesn't matter if they win or lose because we're just sitting here and doing a fun draft.
Yeah.
Speaking of competitive Magic, you participated in a Mythic Championship in December, as
I
you said.
did.
How was that?
That was a pretty cool experience. It was very overwhelming leading up to it, but once I got there and I was just in it, it was uh I mean, it's wild to see these players play because you think that you're good. You aren't. You're not.
Yeah.
Like, even good players, and I've seen even good players. It's just like it's a gut check. I don't really get discouraged by that. Let me say though, to me, it's just so interesting to see Magic played at that high of a
Level,
level,
yeah.
and I think people kind of underestimate it. They're like, okay, how good they can be? How good could they be? No, they're stupid good.
Yeah.
Like it's
Some of them are thinking like 3 turns ahead at this point, and it's just
no,
like,
I mean, I wish it was that simple, but
yeah,
it's not even that simple. It's I can't really put it into words,
that's fair.
but it's like for me, that was one of my favorite parts was playing against and seeing them play and kind of like just being there and like the amount that you learn. I think I don't know. I think Magic players tend to plateau, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like this isn't bad or this isn't a good or bad thing. But I think Magic players, a lot of us tend to plateau. Like we obviously we're all better than when we first started playing because we understand the basic rules of the game and stuff like that. But I think we all kind of like hit a plateau, and the only thing that forces us out to be better is to be around people who are much better than us, and we're like, oh, there is more to go.
And that's
there's
how you
there's
slowly
further
get
to
better.
go.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but for me, I was there, was like, I already know there's further to go, but I was like, Jesus, it's really far. That's a lot of ways to go. So that was pretty awesome. It was cool being invited. I still don't know why I was invited, but whatever. I like it. I'll take it. It was great being with friends. Yeah, no, it was just pretty awesome all around, except for the prepping for the tournament part. That was pretty stressful.
So there was a possible deck list registration error when you made your deck. Wasn't something about a not a basic swamp?
Yes, that's true. I
You talked
was
about this on stream at one point, and you were laughing about it. So
I kept making edits, like, because the deck lists were due, I think it was like my time was like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or something. And like I kept making changes, and I was playing it and I was exhausted because I hadn't slept more than like 5 or 6 hours in 2 days. Like it was unreal. I was exhausted. And I was like changing some things around because I was testing it, and I took out a basic swamp. And that ended up being very bad because I really needed to be able to get a basic swamp. And so the fact that I wasn't able to like would cost. I knew that would cost me games if I didn't play. It forced me to have to play even more carefully. And like sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. But it was just like a wild thing.
you were playing what, like 4 Casualty of War and 4 Fabled Passage. So a card that really cares about black mana, and
mm-hmm.
a land that then can't get you black mana if you really wanted it, which was kind of crushing. It was unfortunate.
Yeah, so that was really tough because like it's like sometimes I couldn't cast like double black spells, so that was tough. So yeah,
Also,
but it was fun. I mean, it was funny after the fact. I was just like, oh, I'm so silly. I just like forgot a basic swamp.
you guys did cube drafts, I believe you said? You did a cube draft thing
Yeah,
there?
yeah. Autumn Burchett brought their cube draft. They have a Bant cube,
Oh,
and I played
wow.
that. It was super awesome. So there's storm archetype lands. Obviously, you can go like an aggressive aggro deck. You can do control. There's a lot of cool
How many layers of
archetypes.
Bant? All of them.
Yeah, I mean it's fun. It was really fun. I enjoyed it, so I got to play. I played in that a lot, and I made I have a magic nemesis now,
And I don't remember who that is.
Torolf.
Uh,
Tor, yeah, he's my nemesis. First of all, that little guy talks so much. He talks so much shit. It is unbelievable. He talks shit all the time. And I was like, am I at a rugby game? Like, what is going on? Why are you? Excuse me.
Also, for those who
Shit
don't
all of the
know,
time. And then he would beat me, which made me even
which
madder.
was even worse. Yeah. For those who don't know, Elizabeth also used to play rugby a lot. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he drafted this really cool mono blue storm deck that like made infinite mana and stuff like that.
Yikes.
That was one of them. I can't remember what his other one was. But it beat me too. Me and Autumn played this really, really cool game where where they were like playing um Bant. They were playing Bant, and I was just playing like white green like aggro kind of thing, and I was pretty aggressive, and I got game one. And then game two, they like Squirrel's Nest, and then the enchantment that untaps the land, and they just made Earthcraft. I think,
Earthcraft.
and they
You tap an
made
untapped
like
creature you
infinite
control on tap
squirrels,
of
and I was
basic
like,
land.
"What is this?"
Yeah. Earthcraft Squirrel's Nest is an EDH combo that has been around. Well, it's just a combo for like casual kitchen table too, but yeah. Earthcraft
Yeah,
Squirrel's Nest is infinite squirrels, which
yeah.
is well, it has to be
The
on a basic land. The Squirrel's Nest
right, it
has to
was
be on
on
a
a
basic
basic
land,
land.
or else it
Yeah.
doesn't work. But yeah,
So like, and then I think it was the night of day one. It was like the night of day one or something like that. Uh, or day two or something like that. We also like drafted again with Autumn's Cube in like a lobby of a hotel room. They had
sounds about right.
we were upset because they closed the hotel bar. They closed the hotel bar because there was a staff party, and all of us were just like, "What? What is this?" We were all so upset. um, Especially Tor because he couldn't get any alcohol, and I was like, "Hey, sucker."
Trash
Um,
talk me now. Oh wait, you're going
yeah,
to.
trash. He's still trash talking me. And then I drafted like a lands, like a blue green lands deck. And a really cool moment. I was sitting between like Christian Hawk, I think is his name.
Mm.
And then, who was this? The person on my left, I think it was either Autumn or it was like John Emmanuel Depraz or something. And anyway, Gabriel Nassif, they came around and he was talking to Christian for a little bit, and then he like picked up my deck because he was like telling Christian, like, he's like, "What are you doing? Like, this isn't it. You're not drafting well." He picked up my little pile, and then he looks at Christian. He's like, "See, somebody here knows how to draft." And then of course, like I emotionally die, and I turn into like a puddle of embarrassment and happiness and joy. It was embarrassing. Like I was ashamed of myself. I didn't let it show too much though. But it was cool. But even then I was learning a lot because I would take a card or I would think like, "Oh, maybe I should take this card." And Nassif would say something like, "Well, don't you think that would wheel?" And that's like a thing that I've noticed with like higher level players that I've played with is that they don't necessarily they don't tell you you should do this. They don't tell you what to do. They ask you why you're doing it. They ask you what you should do, if you think you really should do that.
Yeah.
They're just asking you to think. But and it's not like they're being rhetorical. A lot of the times, at least in my experience, it has been no, they really do want to know your reasoning for why you're making a decision because maybe they are wrong. And I think that's really cool. And where I think a lot of Magic players, like I wish more people did, is just not tell each other what to do so much.
Yeah.
But like genuinely ask why you're doing what you're doing.
Goes back to the don't say this is a bad idea. Ask why they're doing it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because
because sometimes it just forces you to kind of like explain yourself, rethink what you're doing. Maybe there is another option,
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was really cool. That's probably my favorite part of the whole weekend.
It's really cool to see that kind of growth. Well, growth, I guess, or it's really cool to see that kind of thinking because again, it's not the, well, are you sure you want to do this? Or it's the, tell me why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like they're also still trying. They want to learn, even though they're kind of, even though like you said, there's a plateau, and they're still always steadily climbing.
Yeah.
But then they still want to learn in that point too. It's just like, no, I want to know why you're doing this because maybe there's a good reason, and maybe I should think about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that.
So I will say, like, it was really fun. Yeah, it was definitely fun, like being there, participating. I ate a lot of snacks. Wizards kept us stocked with snacks, and I appreciate
Were there
that.
fruit snacks?
They did have fruit snacks.
Um,
They also had a bowl of deodorant, so and chapstick.
you sure this wasn't just Jeremy that snuck in and just put
I'm
everything up
sure. Sure.
there?
I'm sure.
For those who don't know Jeremy, also his Twitter is at MissouriMTG. He comes to every event he comes to has like deodorant, chapstick, hand sanitizer, uh, condoms, everything. You name it,
Hmm.
he brings it. I mean, and it's really cool because he's a vendor. He usually works for some store or another, helping them out with vending. And it's not like he's selling any of this stuff. It's like, if you need it here, take it, because I want to make sure this event is either A, hygienic, or B, you don't smell like ass. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, trust me, I talked to him after about 6 hours of working for wearing this for like deodorant at one point. Um,
Yeah,
this thing is warm, and the buildings, if you go to an event during the winter, are also kept warm.
that's true.
So this is a sauna,
Yeah.
and it's not nice. I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong. And but anyway, you I want to talk about this because a lot of people had opinions about it. Channel
Mhm.
Fireball did a list, power level list with 9, 8, or 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It got obviously a lot of talk. It got talked about a lot, and people had a lot of opinions about it. Whether it was a good idea to put numbers and words, or just numbers. How do you go about saying how powerful your deck is before a game?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. For Reno,
Okay.
they did like competitive 10 to 9. And
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. How do I go about determining how
How
powerful
do
it
you
is?
tell the other players in a pod what your deck does and how powerful it is? And do you think the chart like that is necessarily like good for that kind of idea, or is just talking about what your deck does and like,
Yeah, I think that ranking system was like a good start. If anything, it really just showed that people need to communicate and give, or people just need a way to
you are
communicate.
correct?
Uh, um, Me personally, like I don't really build, like I don't play CEDH. I've never built one. I don't really even know what that format looks like. I kind of treat it completely different than regular Commander. Um, I will say though, I don't play like casual EDH either.
No,
So like
I've played a
I
game with
don't,
you, and you've had a couple of ways to just be like, I win, and that's
yeah.
fine. That's fine. I never have any issues with those kind of decks.
Yeah, I think the trouble's not so much between which like CEDH players and casual EDH players. That's not the problem. Because the CEDH player just wins and doesn't care and they just leave. Like, and it's like, and that's over in like 45 seconds. Like it didn't take long for that to happen. It's not like they, a casual player's upset because they just had to sit an hour to watch a CEDH player win.
Yeah,
No, that was done in 2 minutes. Like you're fine. You'll be okay.
yeah.
You will be okay. No, the problem I think comes with people like me who play like kind of higher power decks, but they're like not CEDH, and people who play very, very casually. And when you have a ranking system like that, I liked it because I was like, oh well, I'm usually like pretty solidly in a seven.
Yeah.
Seven's usually where I keep everything.
Yeah. My only issue is I have a deck that can basically be like a 7 to 8, and then other
Mhm.
games it's just like a 2.
Yeah, I mean, my Memnarch deck is kind of like that, but I always just tell people it's a seven. Its
It's fine.
ceiling is Memnarch's ceiling is like an eight.
Yeah.
That's the ceiling. The floor, I like to do like floor ceiling. My floor is like a five, and my ceiling is an eight.
Yeah.
This is where it is. This is kind of how it goes. It can be disrupted. It can be stopped. You can kill me. It is unlikely, but you can do it. Like there are, I mean, like I also like learned really early on because I started playing Commander relatively soon at like soon into like my Magic playing. I also learned really on that like commander players generally pretty annoying, and to just never get upset. Like most commander players like that I have interacted with, literally super annoying and super catty, and like they get upset and they get salty, and it sucks a lot.
Yeah.
But I recognize, like, I try to have a little bit of compassion here, and I recognize, like, okay, well, these players that I've been playing with, they don't really compete in they don't play like competitive Magic for a reason, and this is where they have fun. And if they are not having fun, then they're super salty about it, because then it's like, oh, this is our last denizen of safety, and now we have this person coming in here with their Menarch and ruining our fun. And so like I just like, all right, that's fine. I don't get upset anymore. I don't get upset if I win. I don't get upset if I lose. I don't get upset if somebody gets salty with me, which happened the last place I was at. I just don't get upset anymore. I just don't care.
Yeah, no, in playing the game with you, I immediately realized that you are a competitive level Magic player, because you're just like, I was like, she can just do this, and she's like, what about that? And I was just like, I wasn't even looking at that. Yeah, no, that's fair. Shit, I should pay attention to the board more often.
I mean,
You're
it
just like,
helps.
if I swing, he gets to do all this Aurelia nonsense, and I was like, oh yeah, no, that's not fair.
Yeah.
No, I what playing with you in like just a game of Commander, in a very casual just game of Commander, where I mean, like, I'm sitting here and someone killed my commander, so now it costs 5 mana, and I'm just like, I don't pay 5 mana for a 3/3 that just puts counters on my dudes. This is dumb. And then there's like a No Mercy in play, and then there's like a Tainted Ether, where like if I just play a creature, I have to sacrifice it anyway. And it's like,
Mhm.
this is my life right now. I have consigned myself to this 3-hour game of my life.
Yep. I
And
hate those games. I don't like those games.
well,
I
the
don't
guy
like
was just like, I'm gonna play mono black control. I'm just like, you could play like any other variation of mono black in Commander, and you chose control.
That's the worst. It feels so bad.
It's
I
funny.
love black. Black's my favorite color in Magic,
You
and
were
I
playing
will
a mono
say,
black deck when we played, so yeah, I agree. I
yeah,
kind of totally see that.
just like, but like having black as a control is just so unfun,
Well,
because you're like, yeah, I'm gonna play things like contamination.
yeah,
I have an Ophiomancer. What's up?
yeah. Well,
What are you gonna do?
it's funny because that guy that we played with, I played with at SCG Con Summer that year,
Mhm.
and I was playing a group hug deck, and he played a mono black deck with Erebos' commander, just like he did the last time. And I'm sitting here being like, do I get to play Magic? And then he kills me with Infect as a group hug
Oh,
player with a creature that has protection from white and green, or yeah, white and green. No, is it white and green? It's white and
you
red.
talk about
Phyrexian
Phyrexian Crusader?
Crusader. Yes.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
put
yeah.
he put Luxodon Warhammer on a Phyrexian Crusader. Me as the green white group hug player, and he started swinging at me. Killed any creature I could block him with, basically.
That's so weird to attack the group hug player.
And I wasn't even
Well, that
doing.
was another thing too that I noticed really early about Commander is like nobody actually like. I don't want to say it's like Commander players are bad at Magic, because it's not that, but you do have a lot of casual players who play Commander. I think, because the competitive players, a lot of them, the really competitive players, are playing like competitive formats. So, but like they don't know the rules of the game, or it's not that they don't know the rules of the game. They're really bad. Like I've played against a lot of Commander players who like don't assess things
Yeah, threat assessment's a huge.
effectively. So it's like it makes games, sometimes it makes them pretty fun. Sometimes it makes things fun. And then sometimes it makes games like really nonsensical. And you're like, ugh.
It's like, yeah, this guy over here probably could start comboing off. But yeah, no, sure, punch me in the face. And the group hug
Yeah.
player that's helping everyone right now. Cool story, bro.
It's a
Yeah,
little weird.
someone in chat was like, they don't necessarily evaluate correctly, and that's true. Evaluation is a huge thing that players, I try to like promote. It's like, yeah, cool, I have this big scary thing. I can't do anything with it. Why are you scared of it? I could have a 30/30 creature It doesn't have trample. It doesn't have evasion. It's a 30/30. You don't need to
Hmm.
kill it. You block it with a 1/1. You block it with anything, and nothing happens. That thing over there that's slowly incrementing value, kill that.
Hmm. Yeah, it's hard to play commander sometimes because like you have people that have decks at different levels,
Mm-hmm.
power levels, and then you have people who are just at different like experience levels and like skill levels, and like sometimes it makes for like really wacky odd games. So again, this is usually why I take on the feeling of like I don't really care what happens or who does what. I don't really care.
As long as you get to have fun and do your thing.
Yeah, I mean, I just get to play Commander so rarely. It's like even if I sit down for 3 minutes and I'm watching somebody else do their thing, I don't care. That's fine with me.
Yeah. I've also kind of become that point too, and I'd like everybody's just like, at PAX Unplugged when I went last year, I got to play a couple of games with Vona and Lorelei because they were
Hmm.
there, and Vona was storming off the storm deck, and everybody's like, I scoop. I'm like, nah, I just want to see this happen because this is really cool, and I really like enjoy watching this thing happen. So I'm just gonna stick here and like keep watching it. And she was like, thanks for letting me just like be able to do that thing because most of the time people don't let me do the thing. I'm just like, I mean, you're having fun. That's all that matters at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, I have. I guess it also just comes from the fact I've been playing Magic since I was 8 years old.
Oh my God, that's so long.
Yeah,
I actually don't know how old you are. You
I'm
could be like
28.
15. I'd be like, oh my God.
I'm 28. So I've
Oh,
been
okay.
playing Magic on and off for about 20 years. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Oh,
it's
okay.
been it's been fun to watch the evolution of Magic.
Hmm.
I don't like Planeswalkers. I love Planeswalkers, but I also don't like Planeswalkers because they
Well, they're
fundamentally
incredibly
changed.
bad.
Yeah, they fundamentally changed the way we play Magic. So,
Yeah.
um, and speaking of fun and evolution Magic, you were building 5 commander decks with fun little caveats to them, which is great.
Yes.
And
So
I will let you talk about them because
yeah,
they're kind
so
of your babies.
for my next card sphere article, which will be out hopefully next week. I decided it's like, okay, I'm gonna build 5 EDH decks and I'm gonna talk about them. And I've always wanted to build one commander deck for each Praetor, like each Phyrexian Praetor. So I built 5 of just the monocolor ones. So I built Jin Gitaxias, Elish Norn, Urabras, Vorinclex, Shuldred, and who am I missing?
Vorinclex, Elishnorn, Shieldred.
Oh, I said children. Okay, I'm
Uh,
not missing anything.
yeah, I was about to say
Yeah.
Shieldred, Urbrask, the Hidden, Elishnorn,
Mhm.
Jin-Gitaxias.
No, don't do it. My cat was trying to get up.
Oh,
Yeah, so I built an EDH deck for each one of them, and I kind of set some rules on myself. So I could not put any card in there that either didn't directly reference the Phyrexians, like that didn't. It was all lore locked, is basically what I called it. So it had to like depict. The card had to have been either printed in a set where on the plane that was a plane where Phyrexians had been, or like it had to reference Phyrexians in some way, shape, or form. Phyrexians are like the planes that they were on. So that's obviously Dominaria, Mirrodin, Wrath, those places.
Mercadia, I
Huh?
guess. Mercadia? I don't know. I don't know if the actual Phyrexians were on Mercadia at that point. I'd have to actually like look into the lore because Mercadia is a separate plane, which is weird. But yeah,
The yeah. So I think Mercadia was in. Oh, it says it's near Dominaria,
it's its own plane near
but
Dominaria or
it's
something like that.
not. But I don't know.
It's not
I have no
technically
idea exactly how it
Dominaria.
all works.
Yeah,
But it's
it's
like the
real weird.
Thran were there.
Yeah.
I
Well, the,
think the Phyrexians were there. I believe.
well, I mean, it's part of the Weatherlight story, so I'm assuming like because Urza's block is a flashback that people don't realize that Urza's block is a
Yeah,
flashback block. People, it happened in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I get really upset when people are like, "Oh, Urza is alive and Urza's talking." I'm like, that's because it's flashbacks.
No, no, no. He died. He
Yeah,
got his head chopped off. He gone. He
you go.
did. He did. He big did. No. So the cards. So I could pull from. It's not that bad because I can pull from a lot of different
Yeah, I was
sets.
supposed to like you have
Most.
invasion and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Because
basically like the first six sets of magic. I think like or six blocks or
yeah,
something like that. Um, Let me look. Yeah, so it's like Ice Age happened, like Ice Age, Mirage, Tempest, Urza, Mask, Invasion, Odyssey, Onslaught, Mirrodin, and Scars of
Dominaria
Mirrodin.
and
These sets.
Dominaria, the
And like
actual set.
Dominaria, yeah, I included that too. Um, the other restriction was I was going to treat rarities the same way they treat them in Commander. So if a rare
Oh,
was in one deck, it couldn't be in any of the other decks. If same thing with a mythic, could be in any of the mythics. They could all have soul rings, obviously, but like an uncommon, it can only be in two decks, which really made stuff really hard.
yeah, I was about to say like your Phyrexian Altar. Well, no, Phyrexian Altar wasn't rare, so Phyrexian Altar can only be in one deck technically.
Yes, that's true. That's very true. But I was able to do it. So I have the rough, like I have the decks built. I'm gonna like look at them again to see like where I can kind of tweak them. But it was pretty hard because when you look at the strategy, like when you look at what those commanders are asking you to do,
Yeah,
the strategies, the cards that you need for that strategy aren't necessarily in that available to you. So it made things a little bit different.
yeah, I was about to say. Because speaking of one of them foreign collects, you're not gonna get great looks at the table when it comes down on the table. People are gonna be very upset with you.
Yeah.
But limiting yourself this way, there's actually not that much ramp and like mana doublers that you can run, because I don't think there's that many mana doublers in a set in those sets that they were in. So
Yeah, so there's not a lot of mana doublers. There's like two or
I
three,
was about to say like Cage
maybe
Sun's
two.
Cage Sun's one of the only ones I can think of at this
Like you
point.
can play Cage Sun, but I'm not playing Cage Sun in that one. There's some things that let your forest tap for.
Oh yeah, Vernal Bloom.
Yeah, Vernal Bloom, that's what it is.
Yeah.
There is a lot of ramp. All your traditional ramp is in there. So rampant growth, explosive vegetation, exploration, burgeoning. These things are in there, and I was happy to put them in. Because especially burgeoning and exploration, because even though they give you an early advantage, they're pretty bad
In the
later on in the
game.
game. They
Yeah.
become pretty useless. Um, so, um, yeah, Vorinclex was pretty tough. Elishnorn was really hard.
Yeah, because that promotes
Um,
like a white weenie strategy, but then you're just like,
yeah, but there's not very many token generators in white in those blocks.
you have to go into the artifact ones that are very much not that
Yes, I
great.
had to go into the artifact ones and do like mirror things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was like overall pretty fun. Like I've enjoyed doing it. I think I think the black one is the best.
Is that like your Kirk deck? Did you like kind of take Kirk apart, or do you still have Kirk as well?
Oh no, I just built lists, so I haven't
Uh,
physically. I don't have that many magic cards. I am a pobre and can't afford to buy a lot of cards. By that I mean vote for Bernie 2020 so that I can get out from under student loans. Do you hear me? Vote for Bernie. Vote for Bernie. Hello? Hello, are you there? Yeah, yeah. Vote for Bernie. It's the little Jewish guy. He has wild hair, wild ideas. Just do it. Okay, thanks. So anyway,
oh god.
I just built lists, so I haven't built the decks together,
That's
but
fine.
I definitely am going to build them.
Well, you definitely SCG Con Winter. You basically built Kirk there,
I did.
and it was super cool to see that because you're just like you sat down with me, and you're just like, what cards are cool for a mono black deck? And I'm like, well, Damnation. And
Mm-hmm.
then I started naming these cards, and you're just like, yeah. And I was like, shit, I didn't even ask her about budget. I didn't ask her about,
Yeah.
and then you know, 6 hours, maybe not even. You're like,
Uh,
all right, got all these cards. Help me make cuts. I'm just like, where the fuck did this come from?
Yo, I'm on my hustle. I got that hustle. It's fine. You make do. You make
And
do.
it's a really fun deck, and
Mhm.
anyone who's at an event with Ellie, who when she's capable of playing Commander, should definitely play with her, because like I said, she's very calm, and it's just where people get to have their fun in Commander, where they're not having to try to win all the time, which is great. Uh, my philosophy is, as long as you like it, play it. Let
Mhm.
it be that 8 mana sorcery that does something sometimes. When it does that something, is probably really cool. So play it.
I have a
Play.
12-mana artifact in in one of my decks. It might have infect.
Oh, it might have trample as well.
It might have trample.
It might be indestructible,
It might be indestructible.
and it might just
It
shuffle
might
back
be the
in.
same deck as a World Slayer. I don't know. I'm the wrong person to ask. You know,
Which deck is that?
it's the Urabrask.
Yes. Because one of my questions was, how's Urbrask win? I now know how Urbrask wins.
Yeah. So the strategies. So the Urabrask was kind of tough.
Yeah, because I was just
But
like, he's just a very, like, if we're basing it off what the commander does, it's a very thing. Like, their
mhm.
creatures enter tapped, your things have haste. It's like, well, obviously you just want to run a bunch of small
Yeah.
creatures that start beating in. But I was like, that doesn't seem like a very fun deck. And I mean, there's not, like, she has such a limitation. I don't know if she can do that kind of thing.
Yeah, I actually basically what I did with Urabrask was I put in big creatures. Like there's mana ramp, but I put in like big creatures and some equipment. Like the I tried to have it kind of fair. So obviously, so green has really good ramp already. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to give it a
Artifact
lot
ramp.
of artifacts or things like
That's
that.
fair.
Red and white have the worst ramp.
Yeah.
So I gave them the most help. And so like Urabrask is the one that has the Cage Sun,
Fair
for
enough.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like,
I'm assuming one either the white or the green deck or the white or the red deck has like Thran Dynamo and
yeah, they both have Thran
oh,
Dynamo.
that's an uncommon. That's right.
Yeah.
Haha. See?
Aha. Or I think actually the white deck doesn't have Thran Dynamo. The blue deck has Thran Dynamo.
And
But because that also doesn't really have ramp.
no terrain generator, but that's a land that. I mean, you're in a monocolor deck. Terrain generator would probably be really good in two of your decks. I don't know if you know what that is.
I do.
Okay, I was about to say because it's a very much a card that some people have never heard of in their life, and I'm like, you play a bunch of monocolored commander decks, you should be running terrain generator.
Yeah, so the idea with the white with Elishnorn, I'm just gonna do this by Wooburg and that'll
Yeah, I
eat
did not
me.
when I wrote the script, and it was bad.
No, it's okay. So with the white deck, it's trying to basically use equipment to make tokens,
Wow.
and then also make tokens like it is like through mirrors and things like that. I have Kemba in there. I also tried to do the thing that they do with commander decks, which is like have an alternate commander.
Oh.
So if you wanted to, I mean, these decks, I've designed them. I'm trying to design them so they're played together. They're not played against other things necessarily.
Okay.
They're supposed to be played in a game of sheriff. Um, but with Shieldred, like her alternate commander would be like it would be like Kemba.
You mean Elishnorn?
Hmm?
You
Yeah,
mean
sorry,
Elishnorn?
yes.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Elishnorn.
Elishnorn.
I was like, man, that's a weird commander for one of them.
It's Elishnorn. Her yeah, so her alternate is like or you could do Krovax too, because I put Krovax. And that I will say was really fun about this was I got to I get to play a lot Magic Commander is about feels like it's very much about new cards now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's constantly about new cards. And so doing this was like an exercise in going into old cards. So I really like that.
Did you
Um,
discover cards you didn't know about that you were like, oh, this is so neat?
yeah, I got to do that. And so it was like pretty cool. Like there's yes. So,
Well,
mm,
I feel Commander is about building you the deck kind of thing and putting yourself in the deck kind of feeling as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think for some people it is like that. For me, it's just more about, especially when it's building decks.
Yeah.
For me, like my deck
Yeah.
is Memnarch. Like that's just the end of it. It's just Memnarch. Period. Like that's my thing. I
Yeah,
like
that's
to get all dressed up and go nowhere. I love that shit. I love that shit. Let me dump my handful of artifacts. Oh, I can't draw cards, so I'm not going to do anything for the rest of this game. Perfect.
You
I'm
going anywhere?
sexually
No.
attracted to that kind of stuff.
It's like, you going to anywhere tonight? No.
No, I understand. I have like 30 mana. It's turn 3, but I can't do anything.
Yeah.
So I don't have any cards.
I
It doesn't
play
matter.
this
It's fine.
terrain
You're fine.
generator and
Don't worry.
pass.
um, but yeah, this was kind of like a puzzle. So I was trying to figure out like, okay, how can I fulfill what these commanders want, and how can I like build them so they're like relatively balanced, but they're not necessarily like not powerful. So with Elish Norn, it was like a token strategy with equipment. With Jin Gataxius, this is actually just more of like a. This is more of like a. I had to build a control deck basically, um, because of what was available.
I was about to
So
say,
it's a lot of like.
space you gave yourself, unfortunately, made it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but Jin Gataxius is a lot like Memnarch. So Memnarch is its alternate commander.
Neat.
So there are combinations in there that let me like really abuse Memnarch. Or then sometimes it's just like a draw go control deck. Not heavy on that, but it does have like Psychosis Crawler and things like that.
Where you want to keep cards in your hand and stuff like that. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah, Shieldred is the infect deck, like the dedicated infect deck. So it plays like bunches of black infect.
I'm assuming the artifact infect creatures.
There's a Skitherix.
So is that the alternate commander?
Huh?
Is that the alternate commander?
It might be.
I'm playing Skitherix Infect. I scoop.
Listen, it's fine. Like it's not a big deal. It's just a little bit of infect.
Do you house rule infect or no?
Yeah, I house rule double. So it take instead of 10 infect, it's 20.
That's
like if you're gonna
what
double.
we do at our household a lot of the times. My best friend does have a Sultai infect deck, and he's just been like, "Can we do like 20? Because I don't want to just like knock someone out the game out of nowhere."
Yeah, because it's like if you're doubling your life total in Commander from 20 to 40, well, then you should double the infect from 10 to 20. It just seems like the most fair. This red deck is actually like it's so Urbrask. It plays a lot of big creatures, and it also plays things like Bosch, Iron Golem. Bosch, and I fling things.
Yeah.
So I fling some things, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Bosch is cute as fuck. I don't care what anyone says. Bosch is
so cute.
Bosch is
and then like my Vorplex, the way it wins is also it's trying to like get kind of wide, and then win with Triumph of the Hordes.
Yeah, I was just about to say. I was like, she's got like 3 overrun effects that she can run in her deck, and probably the one that she would probably run is Triumph of the Horde.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I never can get mad at that card. That card was an uncommon from a set that just did not need to be. So I was just like, all right, well, this is a commander staple for like ever.
Yeah, it was really weird building them because I was like, man, this would be so good if like I could do these things, and it's like I can't.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, cool, Vorinclex. Oh, Nyx Bloom Ancient. I was like, wait, no, she can't. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fine. I do play like I got to play like cool, and sometimes it's like you're just playing like vanilla creatures, which was fine too. Like I was like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. I do like, but I am playing cool things like for flavor. There are things I'm playing for flavor. For all the decks, they all have their chancellors.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, and they all have the mirrors that they need.
Oh, so like iron and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm, like iron, copper, yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. Which art are you running specifically for them? Are you running the original Mirrodin art, or are you running the Scars art?
For which one?
Any of them, because there's one. There's one right answer.
Oh, I'm running their Mirrodin art.
Yeah,
I think
that's the right answer.
I'm pretty sure. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm checking.
Those are cute. The Scars block ones, they get all blocky and weird. I'm like, what is all this?
Yeah.
Why you look like you're 3 feet tall? You're a little tiny thing that should be little and tiny. Be little and tiny.
Yeah, so those are the decks. I still have some tweaking to do because some of them like accidentally do share a card, like that's a rare or something. So I have to like get rid of that and sub it with something else. Vorinclex was really hard to build because Vorinclex isn't that. There's not that many big green creatures that you can really play. Believe it or not, there's just not that
Yeah.
many.
Well, in older sets, they were very scared of giving green creatures like all the big green creatures trample.
Yeah.
So there's like, I think there's like a 7/7 that's just a vanilla 7/7 and onslaught block, and people are like,
Yeah, I'm playing like an 8. I think I'm playing like a worm that's like 8 mana and it's just sits there.
it's
Like
just a big. That's it.
it's just a big baby. Like it ain't there for nothing.
It's a big donkey. Um,
Quilled Slagworm, 8/8. 7 mana, 8/8. Doesn't do anything
doesn't do
else.
anything else.
But it does have Vorinclex flavor
Flavor
text, so
text. Bang! Look at that.
boom.
So we're talking about Commander, but I want to ask you about your favorite format. What is it and why?
Uh I would say limited, so draft is usually my favorite. I think it's the most challenging. Um like it's and it makes you better at the game. Like if you really want to get better at Magic, like play, like get good at drafting. It's teaching because you're like you're constantly being like put on the spot to be good at a lot of different things. So you're like when you're drafting, a lot of it's like flexibility of thinking, evaluating cards, not just like you kind of have to see the relationship between certain things before you have it together. So card evaluation is big. Really flexibility of thinking is really big too, because like sometimes you have to pivot, and that's really nervous. A lot of people stay in like not good color when they should really pivot. And then like the fact that the power level is decreased means that the best player, usually the better player will win.
Yeah.
More often than not, the better player, the more well-rounded, better player will win because they will build the better decks. They will play the best. They will manage their resources the best. So I do like that limited is very much about like skill. Like limited is about skill.
Yeah. Actually, I have to look at my script all of a sudden. Oh no.
Oh no.
So, one thing we probably should have talked about earlier, but we did not. But hey, it's the best time anyway. You are a producer for a podcast.
Uh-huh.
It is called The Playset. If you guys have not listened to it, you should. It's very good. It's also because it's really good because it's done by a very good producer. Ha 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 ha! I did it. So, what does being a producer entail, and how much of it is like busy work and stuff?
So there's no, I don't know what busy work is, but the
Like editing and stuff like that. How much of it is editing?
a lot of it's editing. I actually edit, so I obviously, but it's also, at least in my case for the playset, like I'm also like managing the Patreon and like things like that. But I also edit Thirst for Knowledge, which is like a legacy podcast, and I edit Elo Punters as well. It's a competitive podcast that has like Bob Wong and a couple of other people, and I edit that twice a month. A lot of it's editing. You know, you're trying to. It's pretty time intensive, even if the clips are short. It's pretty time intensive, but it's fun. Like you kind of get to hear like things before everybody else, and it's nice being able to put together other people's content and like help them like get it out there and like make it, sound good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So for the playset though, do you like?
Mhm.
Are you like the person that comes up with like the topic they talk about, or is it like do they
Sometimes,
decide
yeah.
that? Okay.
Sometimes, so like before, yeah, we would all kind of make suggestions together. Now that me and Emily are on it, like we're pretty much going to be directing how that goes. Like also as a producer, like involved a lot of coordinating as well, like coordinating the people, like reminding them, hey, you need to record, like that kind of stuff. Um, it'll be a little bit easier now that it's basically Emily and I, and the other ones just sort of guess when they can. It makes it a little bit simpler.
So there was a change in how it's going to be done now, and
Yeah, so it won't be 5 of us every time. But the problem that we were running into was just with the 4 of them. Jess is from Australia and she travels a lot from place to place. And Emma also, as like somebody who does commentating, also traveling from place to place. And it was just, and then Allie was still in school. So they all have really hectic schedules.
yeah,
And so it was just hard to sync. But if you can have 2 people be on it, like be like a solid core, at least you can like start getting out like consistent content, which
yeah,
is what we wanted.
gotcha. And see, so now she went from being a producer to actually being the core member of the show, which is really cool. And
Mm.
again, it's a very fun podcast. I talk about a bunch of different things. Um, it's not just about competitive Magic. It's just
Community topics too, yeah.
um, back to the script. Oh God, I'm so good at this, professional. Um,
It's all good.
so I was like, I knew there's something I didn't ask about cosplay.
Yeah, cosplay.
Yeah, for those who
It's
don't,
very hard.
yeah, for those who don't know, Ellie is an aspiring cosplayer, and she has a plan, and I will let her tell you about that plan and who it is.
Yeah, so I'm currently building Clothis to have her done by Magic Fest Charlotte is when I will have her done. And it's seemed like it didn't seem like a tough, like it didn't look at first like, oh, isn't going to be too hard. But it's actually really, really complicated. And I've been learning a lot. I have like no experience like building things or anything like I have no experience sewing. I have no experience in like pretty much all these things. So this has been like a wild ride trying to like get it together. But I think it's gonna look really good when I'm done. So
You talk about how you have no experience, so basically, what happens is, and I speak as a designer, a person who designs a bunch of things. You're gonna build it, and it's gonna look great, by the way, and then you're gonna be like, I hate it. There's
yeah.
so many things wrong with this. Look
Mm-hmm.
at all of these imperfections, and it's just like no one's gonna notice them. It's like everyone's gonna notice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit worried about that because I'm definitely a perfectionist. So
Well,
sometimes if I
that
feel
just
like I
means it's gonna
can't
look
do it
even
well,
better
then
at
I
that
don't want to
point.
do it.
Well, that just means it's gonna look even better at that point. So
Let's hope.
yeah. I mean, well, you have. I was about to say we have multiple arts for Clothis. You kind of do, but then one of them's a constellation, and I mean that doesn't really help you all that much
There's
because
actually not that many reference points for
no,
Clothis. Actually, they're very few.
there's the
Um,
enchantment, the
yeah,
red
there's
enchantment.
there's like Furious Rise. There's
Yeah,
Clothis herself, and then there's another one where you can kind of see her from the back, I
like
think, but I don't
the
remember what it is.
fateful end.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
I think the 3 mana burn spell is the one I'm thinking
no,
of.
it's not that. That's not the one I'm talking
No,
about, but
well, poop.
I think she is on that. But like the constellation art, while it's really cool, you
That's
can't really
no,
tell anything.
no.
And it looks different than her regular art.
Yeah,
She actually looks like she has like a full skirt on. It looks very different, I think, than like
yeah.
her regular art. So like I just didn't use that at all. Um the you have like I've been mostly using like her main art.
Yeah.
And then I actually reached out to Magali for like, hey, can you show me something of the back so that I can kind of know what I'm working with? Like, are those wings, especially with
Yeah.
the horns from the I didn't know if they were like, oh, are those like wings? Like, how is that on? How does she have those? Are those coming out like her back or her shoulders or something? So I had to like reach out to her to see how she kind of designed it. And then from there, It's
Work.
just gonna have to be like I'm gonna have to like make edits from that. Um, yeah, but it's pretty involved. Like the shoulder, like the big wings on her shoulders are pretty complicated to make. Her weapons are kind of complicated to make when you look at them. And even like she has a lot of stuff going on her head, like having two masks on the side of her head. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of
Yeah.
like little
Yeah,
details.
the smaller details are what's crazy. Yeah, I was just about to
Yeah.
say.
I have the main wig. I have all the fabric that I need for her, like top and skirt. I have her wig, but she's gonna need like tons of extensions if I'm gonna like recreate that look. I have her horns like cut out, but they're not mounted to anything yet. Like I haven't like actually made them into a like headpiece,
Oh, okay.
and I haven't painted them. And then I don't have the mask yet either, or the shoulder horns.
So I know this is a weird question because we just can't. But I'm gonna say it now. Do you have any other plans for cosplay as well? I know you're still kind of working on this one, obviously, but
Oh, like any others I want
to
to
do,
cosplay?
yeah.
Yeah. So I have this thread of I think it's like hashtag melanin in MTG.
It's a really good thread.
And so it has a bunch of characters and art from Magic that feature like brown characters. And like so I'm pulling from that. Let me look.
It's
I would
a very
really
good thread though. If you guys can find it, you guys should look at it.
Yeah, I think I can find it in my own stuff. Yeah, so I really like to do. I would really love to do Sisay. That's one. I'm probably just gonna like borrow Olivia's.
I mean, that's
I
fair.
really want to borrow Olivia's until I can like build it on my own. Then I want to build. Oh, what's it called? Izoni Thousand Eyed would be so amazing to
That'd
do.
be so cool.
But like the problem with Izoni is there's no reference. It's just that art.
Just that art.
And it's very difficult to see exactly what she's wearing and how she's wearing it. So like it's gonna take some time for me to like kind of design a plan, and it might just be a while. I don't know if you've ever played. Have you ever played Final Fantasy?
Which one?
So I think it's 13 or Final Fantasy.
You mean Fran?
Huh?
You mean Fran?
Fran, yes.
Yeah, 12.
I want to cosplay Fran so bad.
That's fair. Yeah, Fran's probably one of like the most underrated characters in the Final Fantasy.
Fran's so cool, and she looks so awesome. And like, yeah, I'll be walking around with like no clothes on. But like, I don't care.
You're gonna have bunny ears. People aren't gonna know who you are anyway, so it's fine.
I don't care. But she looks so dope, and she's badass.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to make any of that at all. No clue.
Nope.
I don't have a single idea how to do any of that. But I don't care. Yeah. She's definitely like one of my cosplay goals.
That's fair. Let's see. Any events you are planning to be at in the near future? Like, I mean, this year, obviously, basically.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Louisville. I'm going to like SCG Atlanta. I think that's one of them, and obviously Magic Fest Charlotte. I don't know about big ones. Like, I really would love to go to Vegas. I just don't know financially if I can make that work because I'll be going to Dragon Con.
Yeah.
So that's going to be like pretty tough.
Yeah.
But I will be going to SCG Con Summer for sure.
Oh, cool.
And then I'll be going to like the Winter Con. I don't know what SCG schedule is, but
they're probably going to keep it in November because it was very good in November. There wasn't snow on the last day, which means they didn't get snowed in, which was great. Mm-hmm. So the last time they did in December and the Sunday they snowed out, so they weren't actually able to do an event on Sunday.
Yeah.
And apparently, like,
oh, that's right. I remember that. No, I remember that.
Apparently, people had to like drive in the snow to be able to go do the the competitive event on Sunday and all
Yeah,
that
like
stuff.
one guy got stranded and he had to get like picked up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which you know, maybe SG is just like, I don't think we want to do this again. That sounds bad.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be playing. It's tough because like I again have lots of student loans and I'm a single person living on their own. You know, my parents don't support me or anything, so I don't have lots of money, so it's tough for me to like,
Travel.
travel to like really far places and even if it's just for like a weekend. So because that's money I could be making, either streaming or doing something else. So it's really tough. But I've been wanting to like play more competitive Magic, so I've been wanting to go to more events.
I
Mm-hmm.
understand that. Well, I mean, I started traveling and was just like, oh, I like this. Oh, I like this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, no offense to the South, but living here for about 24, well, 28 years, there's not a lot to do where I live, and every event for Magic is about an 8 hour drive from me.
Where do you live now?
I live in New Orleans, so Atlanta's an
Oh,
8 hour
right.
drive, Dallas is like an 8 hour drive, Knoxville is like an 8 hour drive.
You have to fly everywhere, basically.
Yeah, so I was just like, and when I was working as a janitor, so like the first event I went to, I was like, I got the money to fly.
Yeah.
So I mean, luckily having a better paying job has helped. But I do understand because I was just like, huh, these flights are like $400, which is
Uh-huh.
not nothing, by the way. Some people I'd be like, $400 is so cheap. I'm like, yeah, what the fuck you smoke? Um, $40 is a lot of money. $40 is a lot of fucking money. Let's be realistic, people. Come on now. Sorry, I get economics and stuff like that kind of really throw me for a loop, and half the time, and
Uh,
I get really vocal about the idea of the value of money because some people don't understand it. Um, because the value of a
True.
dollar is because I mean, like people are like, I'm gonna buy all these gems on Magic. It's not like, and then they're just tossed like that could have been like a whole bunch of other things, but you decided for it to be digital cards. But cool.
Yeah, I feel bad every time I buy gems. I'm like, I
Yeah,
don't know if
no.
that was a thing. I don't think that was a move.
Every time I click that button, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I try not to buy gems if I can. Like, if it's like, okay, if I run out of gems, like if I hit a bad streak drafting, I'll like switch to like doing dailies or just like playing, free best of one or something until like I get enough
You,
gold.
yeah, I was about to say utilize free to play because it could make it mean free to play kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, uh, because you never know when you're gonna need that like $20 to just spend on gems.
Yeah, I like the accounts. Like I've always thought about like doing an account that's just like, okay, I start with, you start with that like 5.99, whatever that little starter pack is, and then just like never putting money in it and just playing.
MTG Nurgirl has an account where it's basically just a complete free to play account. Spice 8 Rack is also doing that. Like his account is literally, I am not giving them money. Like,
Yeah.
so everybody's like, well, why are you playing that card in your deck? He's just like, well, I'm not spending money on those games, so that's why I'm playing this card in this deck. Like that's what
Right.
I'm doing.
It's like, yeah,
That's why there's a guild gate in this deck.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's cool because you could eventually, you'd like, ideally, you like play enough to where you
Yeah.
get your cards.
Well, and that's the weird part because I say that and I'm like, well, drafting because drafting eventually gets you vault progress. It costs too much to draft. There's too many coins to keep trying to draft over and over and over again to be successful
Yeah,
at
it
that.
does. It does. I think drafts do cost like way too much.
Yeah. And yet, I know it's a fraction of what an actual draft costs in person, but still, it doesn't
No,
mean that it doesn't
it
make it
doesn't
any
matter.
better.
It
Yeah,
doesn't matter that it costs a fraction of whatever. I don't care about that. It's
yeah,
like it's not like I can redeem those cards for money.
yeah.
So like I don't care. Like it shouldn't be cost me anything.
No, I
Like
agree. That's kind of my biggest stance is that like if you want gold to like be a thing, don't make gold so hard to get. And I understand you have dailies and all that stuff, and gold's not that hard to get. But when you put a cap on how much gold you can get, kind of thing,
hmm
you're kind of making it a scarce resource at that point, and that's just how I feel about it.
yeah, yeah. I'm with you.
You also play a lot of MTGO occasionally, which is it's not all the time. but occasionally you pick up your legacy deck and play it because why not?
Mhm.
And it's Reanimator.
Mhm.
And what's your favorite part about Reanimator?
My favorite part about Reanimator is that it's just you're just checking your opponent. It's a game of chicken. You know what I mean? Like it's a game of chicken. You got it or not. That's what you're saying. When you're playing Reanimator, you're asking a question. Do you got it or not? I like to be the one who forces you to answer the question.
Cowboy
That's my
magic.
favorite
Make
thing
them
about
have it.
Reanimator.
Make them have it.
Make them have it.
Yeah.
And like if they have it, they have it. I mean, the fun thing about Reanimator, so when I first started playing Magic, people would always be like, "Oh, gosh, play Burn, it's so easy. Gosh, play Tron, it's so easy. Gosh, play Reanimator, it's so
There's
easy."
so
Like
much thinking
you
that
just
goes
roll
on
your
into those
face on the table.
decks.
Like people have these like really low opinions of linear decks, and it's like if you think that you're bad at Magic, like you need to grow. You don't know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Because like just because linear is a straightforward strategy, well, what do you think has to happen? What do you think happens when you're forced, like when your strategy's knocked
Yeah.
sideways? Like you still play, you still have to figure out how to win, and those decks can do it. So, you know, maybe Tron's like the least of those, but still like I do love playing decks, like picking up decks that people say, "Oh, this is just easy. This is an easy mode deck," and finding out actually there's skill involved in playing,
Even burn,
these
like
things.
the difference
Burn
between playing.
especially, people
Yeah.
like underrate burn so badly, and it's just it's embarrassing. Like I don't tell this to people's faces, but like I'm definitely silently judging people who are like, "Oh, burn is so easy." I'm just like, you don't know what you're talking about. No,
There's
it's not.
the game could be
You have
chosen
finite
between.
resources. You have basically no draw. You think you have 20 damage in your head, but what happens if you don't?
Yeah.
Like what happens if you're playing as a creature deck and now your resources are split between dealing with their creature or dealing with their face? You don't know what you're talking about. Burn.
Exactly. Yeah. When the game's chosen between a burn spell to a creature or a burn spell to their face,
Yeah.
because either killing that creature means you live longer to probably draw more burn to kill them,
Mm-hmm.
or they kill you kind of situations. And those are the situations that where burn is probably like you think the most and most more than any deck in Magic, I guess, maybe besides control decks. But even then, control decks are, I mean, have a very much thought process where it's it's if they're they're not a tap out like control deck, they're like hold mana
Mm-hmm.
answer. They're proactive or reactive, not proactive.
Yeah, they're reactive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I like playing these decks. I like picking them up and like finding new line, like finding the lines that aren't necessarily straightforward and like interactions and stuff like that. Like I love Infect. I like linear strategies a lot. So I love playing Reanimator. All of my favorite Magic spells are like black anyway. So
There you go.
yeah, I just like doing it.
And it's totally not because there is a certain legendary demon that lets you draw 7 cards.
Listen, Gristlebrand should be legal in Commander. That's all I'm saying. Give me Gristlebrand. Give me Gristlebrand.
What if I?
Give it to me.
So I was talking about Canadian Highlander earlier. What if I told you there was an actual Tin Fins deck in Canadian Highlander?
Oh my god, I love Tin Fins. Tin Fins is wild.
Tin Fins
That
is
is a
such a wild deck.
strategy. Tin Fins is crazy. Like I played Reanimator and someone was like, "Oh, like you should play Tin Fins." I tried to play Tin Fins. I was like, "What the fuck?
What is going on?
What is going on?
What is a Children's of Corliss?
What am I doing? This isn't straightforward. This is nonsense. Somebody dropped acid when they built this deck. What's going on?"
It's such a weird deck. It's so much fun.
It is fun though, yeah.
It's just like I just gained, like 40 something life because of this little one drop that lets me sacrifice himself. And then I drew my whole deck and played my whole hand and sacrificed Gristlebrand like 18 times to this sacrifice and burnt offering. And then I just tendrilled someone because why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it's such a cool deck. And I love, and that's what I love about Magic is that the creativity of the decks and like and I guess it's why I like casual Magic more than competitive, because competitive there is a tier list and there is what you should and shouldn't play at a tournament, because obviously it affects your results. Because
Mm-hmm.
you playing a pet deck at a competitive tournament isn't necessarily going to equate to wins, which
Nope, it's
if you
usually the worst thing to do. Yeah.
yeah, which is definitely not how I want to play Magic. I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring a pet deck every single time, and of course I'm gonna lose. But I mean,
Yeah.
that's why you don't see me at the competitive events. You see me at the commander table over there playing with Alexander Clamilton. Um,
Love me some clams.
I am building another one. It's bird tribal.
Oh no.
It's blue green. It's gonna be a mess. It wins with as luck would have it, which is basically Helix Pinnacle but with dice.
You don't
Which
have to do this to yourself.
I don't, but it's also super fun because I get to play Chicken a la King, and how many times do I get to say the word Chicken a la King and mean a creature in Magic? Um,
Fair enough.
yeah,
Fair enough. Can say nothing.
yeah. I mean, I have real decks too. Um, I play Tree Folk Tribal. You know, that's a real deck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. It's not Doran either, which is the actual Tree Folk Tribal
Oh,
commander.
see, I thought you were talking about Doran, and now
No,
that it's not
I'm
Doran,
talking
I
about
don't.
Sapling of Kolfanor, which most people don't even know that card exists.
Yeah, I know what the
Um,
card is. Yeah.
yeah, see, she gets it. Um, it's a 2/5 with
That
indestructible that
was
costs
gas.
5 mana.
It's fine.
It's fine. Uh, I also play Goreclaw. My girlfriend just mentioned it in chat. She's like, Goreclaw. I was like, well, yeah, Goreclaw's a real deck, and sometimes it does win on turn 5, but that's not the point.
You're missing all the things.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm with you. I really do like building decks, and like I like the creativity. I like Commander for that reason too. Yeah.
yeah. It's the building is the fun part, and I guess that's also why I like the drafting process, because it's the building. It's you
Mhm.
figuring out what you're going to do, and also why I love mystery boosters, and I'm excited that they're coming to stores. I'm excited that people get to draft them, because it's such a fun format. It's like Chaos Draft. They did have some sort of idea what they wanted to do, but there's 1,700 cards, so you're never gonna actually be able to
You
do
have
what
no
you
idea
want.
what
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I'm excited for those too. I didn't get to play any like of those drafts, like
yeah.
mystery booster drafts.
SCG Con, like they like people were lining up literally like at the gate to get in, so they could go then line up at the counter to go get mystery boosters.
Wild.
It was crazy because they only allowed so many, so it's not like a Magic Fest where it's just an on-demand thing. And if you get a pot of 8, you just sign them all up, hand a judge a slip, and be like, "This is our pot of 8." By the way, if you ever have a chance to do that at a Magic event, I highly suggest it. It is
Look,
probably the
get a
most.
pot of 8.
Yeah, if you have your own little group of 8,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that is the most fun I've ever had drafting, because
Mhm.
you're not supposed to talk, but no one cares. No one cares at
Yeah.
all. I
Yeah,
mean,
you're
like,
with your people. Yeah.
I was drafting with Shiva, and I knew exactly every time I passed him ramp, he's just like, "Oh no, ramp!" And I was just like, "Yeah, no, that's Shiva, that's Shiva."
Hopefully I get to do one. I'm really excited for the SCG Con summer.
Yeah,
I'm like planning to like take those days off for work, like from work, so I don't have to be back like on, you know, Sunday night. Like I can be back on Monday, like so I can still like do stuff with everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you are going to be streaming soon because you're doing a late night stream, obviously. And I should let you get ready to do that. And I really don't actually have that many more questions, and it doesn't look like anyone in chat does. I thank you for your
Okay.
time. It has been great. You have been great. You are great.
Well, thanks for having me.
Also, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Ellie of the Veil. You can find me on Twitch at Ellie of the Veil, but it's spelled differently,
Yeah,
and there
I'm
are
going to
underscores.
put in chat your Twitter.
Twitter, aka the website.
The website. And then that's her actual. Mallet, you missed some words for her Twitch, unfortunately. It's Ellie underscore of underscore the underscore veil. And then her Twitter is ELLIE of the veil.
Yes.
because she changed it recently because people were saying thought it was Eli, which
Yeah, or like they were saying E Lee, which was like,
I totally get that.
that's not it either.
My favorite is I'll say my name is Phil and they're like, how many L's is that? I'm like, it's Phil. How many do you think there are?
It's Phil. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Uh
yep, that's where you find me. Or you can find my articles over on realcardsphere.com
and then
or
also,
blog.cardsphere.com.
where can they find the playset at?
The playset is it's at the playset on Twitter. And then we're on SoundCloud, we're on Stitcher now, and we should be on Apple Podcasts. Podcast Connect have been driving me crazy.
Yeah,
But
it's so weird to be able to like get a podcast on a thing.
yes, it's
I believe you.
sorry, my cat decided that he was going to chase his tail very aggressively.
Simon decided he was just gonna go at it, huh?
Like, I don't even know what he's doing. What are you doing? Sorry. Like,
No, it's fine.
what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? I don't know what he's doing. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Cats gonna
Yep.
be cats.
Yep.
Yeah, so check those out. I was about to say, do you have a Patreon? But patreon.com/theplayset if you want to
Yeah.
get into that. Also, if you are part of her Twitch channel, she also has a Discord. If you are a subscriber, question mark?
Subscriber?
Your Discord.
Oh, you just follow.
Okay. So she also has a Discord if you want to join that. Just follow her channel and one of the mods. I'm totally a mod. Will probably drop a link because I'm pretty sure it's just a command in chat now. I think.
It needs to be. I don't think it is
I'll
yet.
work on that.
I don't know how to do it.
So if we have like Nightbot in your chat, that'd be great. If not, we'll talk about how we can get a bot in your chat so we can start getting you commands and stuff. So
Okay.
yeah,
I think I have Nightbot. I don't know.
Nightbot, then I can add a command. That'll be the Discord, which could just be an invite link. Which if you want that,
Okay.
that's fine. Thank you so much. This was great, and I enjoyed it so much. So she's actually gonna be streaming later tonight. I don't actually know when. She just said late, so I just implied it's currently about
Yeah,
9
probably
o'clock.
about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was about to say it's currently like almost 9 o'clock where she is. So she's going to be streaming Magic. I was like,
Yeah,
I don't think she streams anything else, but
no,
you
I
never
don't stream
know.
anything else. I wish I did, but I don't. I just
Variety
stream it.
streaming's so weird because if your viewer base is basically Magic, people are just be like, "What's this? This ain't Magic," and then just be like, "Clickety click, I'm out." And it's like, "Cool, thanks, I guess." Yeah, I was playing one game recently, one day, and they were just like, "Weren't you just interviewing someone?" I was just like, "I can do other things. I don't have to just interview people."
Yeah.
But some people don't think that. So again, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate this so much.
Well, no problem. I'll see you later. Bye.
So, I'm gonna go host someone. Wow, my help. You know, this thing is probably the hardest part about this. This thing never wants to be right, ever. So I'm gonna see who's live. Who be live? This button. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. You guys have been great. Shout outs to YouTube. I probably won't be sick. My friend Megan streaming. So rad and awesome. I probably never be monetized by. I want to thank you guys by YouTube because there's cursing all the time, but we're all grown adults. So, meh. Anyway. Boop. Invalid username. Oh, I spelled things wrong. I'm bad at this game. So thank you guys again. Let me make sure this worked. Boom. All right. So thank you guys again. I'll probably get this on YouTube as fast as possible. Thank you all for liking, sharing, subscribing on YouTube if you do that. And thank you all for follows, raids, bits, subs. You guys are the best. You guys are the reason I get to do what I get to do. Have a great night. Bye.